All right, what's up, everybody? It is Friday, mastermind time. Every Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific. We are bringing in amazing, badass mortgage professionals and real estate professionals. More than ever, I'm interviewing top real estate agents. I just got done interviewing Carrie Scholl, who is an incredible leader on the East Coast. She leads a team of 80 loan officers, has an EXP group of 600. She's an incredible teacher and coach. That'll be live in our YouTube channel by the end of the day. Can't emphasize enough. If you are in mortgage, like you need to be masterminding with realtors and you need to be listening and learning to people like Carrie. Gavin, do you know Carrie by any chance?
I know Carrie, yes. And did you say she has 80 loan officers?
I don't think that's
Well,
possible.
by the way, that was a mistake. Realtors.
Okay.
Realtors.
Realtors. Okay. Okay. Well, I know that she has a lending arm of her empire, if you will. And so that's terrific. But yeah, rock star. Absolute rock star.
Yeah. So before I introduce Gavin and bring him in, Todd, anything you want to say to frame the call and introduce everybody?
Well, you just talked about the need now more than ever to be connecting with real estate agents, right? We're not even a week into the quote unquote new world of the NAR world. And, some states, I know you've been at it longer than others, but for everybody, it's just happened. And, I've had some amazing conversations this week with real estate agents, and it's amazing to hear the confusion. It's amazing to hear that they all have different processes. It's amazing to hear the optimism, the pessimism. And I just think it's just such an amazing time for us as loan officers to be able to take market share, because ultimately they need someone who's going to be that guiding light and pull them through it. So I would just encourage you all. I mean, I would be not just doubling down, but tripling down on those conversations, because we know conversations count, right? We had Scriptapalooza. We had mine and Deborah's good friend, Phil Jones, on there. So what's up, my fellow exactly what to say guy, Deborah? How are you?
I am great. And thanks for setting me up, because reminder to everybody, if you enjoyed what you saw on Scriptapalooza, don't forget, Todd and I are hosting our very own personal certification for exactly what to say that is specialized for mortgage and real estate professionals. So what perfect time to level up your conversations than to spend 2 days with us, where we will be doing script writing and role playing, and then you can take that back to your agent partners and really help level up their game too. So that's half the battle to increase conversion, is knowing exactly what to say, right?
Couldn't agree with you
Absolutely. Yeah,
more.
just DM either of us if you got questions or interest.
All right, guys. Well, let's tee it up. So Gavin Ekstrom to say he's a top producer would be like an understatement. I mean, he is truly a franchise player. Like, he's a guy that is a market mover. He's a leader in the Denver, Colorado market. He is a leader with cross country. He is a coach that has mentored and coached I don't know how many mortgage professionals and real estate professionals. And then he's a mentor and a leader to realtors. One of the reasons he's also a grandmaster mortgage coach. He kicks ass and does a whole lot of mortgage coaches. He's helped a lot of loan officers become mortgage coaches. And I have been seeing him on social media as a leader. Like I can just tell he is a beacon of leadership in the Denver, Colorado market. And I want to know what he's doing. So Gavin, what's up, my brother?
Hey, good to see you guys. And Deborah, one question. Are the Rangers going to repeat? Oh, she's muted.
Hope so.
Yeah.
we lost you there, Deborah, but I
said they're not looking too great, but I'm going to be hopeful.
Okay.
That's honest. That's honest.
Yeah. You can cross your fingers and hope for the best, right? And
like, I think even just to make it to playoffs at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it feels like that's what a lot of agents and lenders are doing in today's market, right? Is they're just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best. And so what I find in my trajectory is, this more scripted I am, the better I've become. And so one thing we're teaching a lot of our realtor partners and relationships that we're getting into is those that have a scripted process, those that can show more value will win in any market. And I think, it would be great to talk about this, but the NAR now settlement, I feel like the buyer's agent has the ability to make more money. And here's why. Prior to the NAR settlement, the buyer's agent commission was determined on the negotiation skills of the listing agent. Follow me with this. So 50% of our industry was on a contractual basis, right? The listing. There was never a listing that did not have a contract. So 50% of our business was on a contractual basis. The other 50% was on a verbal basis. Will you show me the house? Yes. When? What time? Let's go, right? And so 50% was on a verbal basis. That just meant that they winged it. And who did we work the most with? We worked the most with as lenders, buyer's agents. So if the buyer's agent was winging it, most of us winged it too. If I look at the top tier of lenders, they had a scripted process in everything that they did. And the same with top buyer's agents, right? And so that's why I think the buyer's agency agreement is so important and the buyer's presentation is so important. And if the buyer's agent is tightening up their process, well, we as lenders in the mortgage coach community, we're already doing this, most of us, but we need to do it at even a higher level because the bar's getting raised. And so now in today's market, if I have to sign a buyer's agency agreement right up front, if I was an agent, I'd be signing for 3%. I wouldn't sign for 2 or 2.6 because prior to, if I went and think about this, the buyers prior to the 17th, the buyer's agent went out and sourced the property for the buyer. The buyer selected the property and that home had a 2% commission. The buyer's agent didn't have the buyer pay that increased commission. And very rarely did they go back to the seller, right? Or the listing agent and ask for more. Lennar is a great home builder. In our community, they only paid 1%. The buyer's agent never battled that. They just took the 1% and went on and they hoped they got a referral. Does that make sense? So now you've got that signed up front. If it's 3%, you know that you have 3 ways of getting it. The first way that you're going to get it is if the property is listed for less than 3%, you ask to increase to your commission. The second option, yes, appraisals are going to matter more than ever before because it can now be financed. And the third, which most buyer's agents don't want to deal with, is having to go back to the buyer and get that commission paid. But in unique situations where there's less inventory on the market or a unique property, right? Then that buyer is going to be more willing to pay that commission and the seller will not have to pay it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Gavin. In our market, I talked to an agent 2 days ago. He's got 3 new buyers, buyer broker agreement signed at 4%. He said, hey, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to make more money. And we've worked with a big team that's done 3% plus a $5.95 transaction fee for, gosh, close to a decade. But the 4% thing was pretty interesting. And then I asked him, well, how's that going? We had one of those clients go under contract and he said, it was only a 3% commission. And he told the person, hey, you know what? I'm just going to help you out here. I'm going to waive 1% of it. So he looked like a hero. And he said, so all I'm asking you in return for that is 4 referrals in the next 4 months. And I thought it was a pretty interesting strategy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. I think the biggest thing that if you're going to get 4% or you're going to get 3%, whatever's maybe above current market standards, the only way you're going to do it is by adding value. By adding value. And here's the thing. We're performers. A realtor is a performer and a lender is a performer. And here's what I mean by that. When you're presenting your value, you're performing. When you're presenting your buyer's presentation, you're performing. So let's look at it. If an agent, an agent compared to, let's say, a beginning actor, right, on theater, on Broadway, a beginning actor, I looked up the income. They make $59,901 a year. Can you make that in real estate? Yes. Can you make that in lending? Yes. Okay. So let's go to the NFL. The season's about to start. An NFL player can make, an incoming NFL player can make $795,000 a year. We can make that in real estate and we can make that in lending. And then you go to the NBA. A rookie in the NBA can make 1.1 million entering the league, right? We can make that in real estate. Here's the thing. They're performers. We're performers. We need to practice our craft. We need to get better at adding value, telling stories, adding negotiation skills into our buyer's presentation so they know that they're absolutely working with the best in that space. And get this, your 1099, if you're a real estate agent, reflects how good of a performer you are. Does that make sense? So if you want to make more money, good, become a better performer, be more scripted. Don't sound like a robot, but be scripted in your performance.
Yeah, I wanted everybody to write down be a better performer, I want you to write down the best consistent process wins. It doesn't just win, it dominates. Like whoever has the best consistent process and system that delivers value to the consumer, who's practiced it, who can kill it, wins. And the numbers that Gavin called out there, we all know there are mortgage and real estate professionals making a whole lot more than that. So there's no better business than ours. And while we have had a couple years of struggles, it's been a tough 2 years with interest rates coming down, with massive changes happening in the market. Like it is game time to kick ass and take names. So Gavin, let me ask a couple questions.
Yes.
So one, you're a mortgage coach.
Yes.
You know, how important or how much more important you think being a mortgage coach and being able to visualize value, visualize numbers, tell stories in a mortgage coach way, how important is that in this market going forward?
It's still one of our most competitive advantages that we have, right? And it's consistent. I tell my team, if you skip a step, you'll skip a sell. Mortgage Coach is one of the steps. It's embedded, and I'll do our buyer's presentation of a form of it. It's embedded into our buyer's presentation. And so, can I share screen?
Are you kidding? Of course you can share a screen, bro. Who wants to see Gavin share a screen and see a little bit of his buyer presentation? Let's go.
All right, cool. So listen, so again,
Ooh, nice.
So if we think, oh, good, yay. If we think, now I'm going to preface this. Know your audience, right? I'm a high D, so I'm not going to want to sit through a whole buyer's presentation, but most of your clients are high S and high C. Now, I did this call earlier today and they're like, well, this might not be for everybody. And I thought that about Mortgage Coach. I thought, well, your Mortgage Coach is only for your analytical, for your engineers. Mortgage Coach is for everybody. A portion of this is for everybody. I want you to pick and choose. I will also tell you this. How I created this was looking at multiple buyers' presentations of agents of other lenders, taking some information from our Mortgage Coach community and embedding it into this. Because if it's not in writing, it doesn't happen. And if it's not a step-by-step process, your team's not going to run the play. I don't do loans every single day. It's my team. My job is to go out, speak to agents, educate, and bring in the business, okay? And so my team runs my play. Then I talk to the client afterwards to make sure that everything was good. And I talk to him periodically throughout the transaction. Primarily, my focus is catering and loving on my realtors, okay? So first off, I believe that every buyer's presentation needs to have some note from you, whether you copy this or you create your own. Secondly, is have a mission statement that's there that you can read, that you can share with them. We hold ourselves to the highest level of accountability and integrity in all that we do and maintain a relentless pursuit of enhancing the client experience without limit and boundary. Simple stuff. Why Team Gavin? So we just go, you have a report card. We want to show you our report card, right? 5 reasons why they made the right choice. You need to educate them on this. Strong reputation. Listen, I took something out of Shayla's book. I'm going to use my reputation to get you the home you want at the payment you can afford. You'll see that in here. Number 2, our winning formula. Our pre-approval letter is not the same generic pre-approval letter that everybody sends out to their clients. Our pre-approval letter says, this is why you should choose our offer. And I list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's more detailed. I want to stand out. If I look at a bowl of goldfish, they all look the same. That's how we look as lenders. So what are you doing to stand out even during the offer process? Surface advantage, and you guys can read this. And listen, if you go to my Instagram and type, follow me and then say buyer, I'll send you this buyer's presentation. Service advantage. Listen, we're 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 8 to 9. I have a fully staffed team there to help you. Now, here's the deal. Do I have people right now that at 9 o'clock at night are in the office? No, but they're on call. And if they step away, we use an old school answering service to answer the call. So no call goes to voicemail. Use some of those tools to enhance your experience to add value. Interest rates and fees. Listen, I'm a consumer, so are you. When it comes time to shop for the mortgage, I'm going to shop with you. I would never want to overpay for goods and services. I wouldn't expect you to. We will be at or below any credible lender. And then I'll touch on what a credible lender means. And then lender for life. We always talk about that. We'll refinance our clients for free for no charge. My team. Now, listen, if you're not using Zillow for your report card start, we started this about 5 years ago. We have over 1,658 reviews online with a 4.9 star rating on multiple platforms. This is what's key. 96% of our reviews say that we closed on time. 62% of our reviews say their rate was as expected, and 36% of our reviews say their rate was lower than expected. So 36% of our clients had a better rate than what they thought they were going to get. 54% of our reviews say their fees and closing costs were as expected, and 41% of our reviews say their fees and closing costs were lower than expected. This is why the Zillow platform works, is because they rank you on all of this. Whoops. Listen, our millennials, right? Our millennials want to know that we're giving back. If you look at what's important to a millennial, they want to see that we're invested in our community. So yes, this would work. Now I'm 50. I don't really care about this. I want to know payment and cash to close. So know your audience. But yeah, Colorado Veterans Project is something here locally that we give to. Homemade Colorado and National Jewish Health is something here locally that we give to. All right. So this is where it gets good. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what's the most important thing for you during this transaction? And write this down because you're going to share it with the agent. But let them share what's the most important thing. It's what's called their dominant buying motive. The reason is if they get off the tracks, and 33% of all transactions are failing right now. So if they get off the tracks of home ownership, you have a tool, you and your agent, to bring them back to on the tracks. So if I know that they're expecting a baby and the baby's coming in November and they tell me they don't want to buy, I'm going to remind them of why they started this process anyway. Why are you buying now when your friends and family told you not to? And then tell them why now is the best time to buy. Because buyers demand, because interest rates have gone up, buyers demand has cooled, right? And so now, rather than making an offer on a property where there's 25 offers, there may only be 1 or 2. Which the best part about buying in today's market is not only will the seller, pay you, don't use the word concessions, they don't know what it means, pay you to buy their house, right? By giving you money to buy down the interest rate that matches that of 20 and 21, now you have no competition and there's more homes on the market. There's a term called concessions, then go into concessions. I'm going fast for the sake of time. But here's the other thing. Asking them, what are your short-term real estate goals? The short-term real estate goal is to get in the house right now. And this is where we need to slow down, is what are your long-term real estate goals? Dream with me. Tell me what the future looks like. Do you want to buy an investment property? Do you want a house on the lake? What does that look like? And take notes on that, because all you're going to do is build for future business for you and your agent. When they say they want to buy an investment property in 3 years, now you have a reason to call them 2.5 years into it. Use your CRM the way that a CRM is meant to be used. We use a program called MortgageCoach. It clearly articulates your payment and cash to close. And then it can go deeper in giving you an itemized breakdown of all the fees associated. When we find the right property, we're simply going to update your mortgage coach. It's going to give you 3 scenarios. We generally talk about buy downs in our scenarios. And then the last one is the free refinance. So as the market turns, then we change whatever. We're really basic with our mortgage coach, so we're not super fancy, but it works for our clientele. But it's part of our buyer's presentation so they understand what they're going to get. This is simple. This is simple. This is what I took from Shayla. I hope you guys took it. But here's where I look at this. We all want a buyer's agency agreement for us as lenders. We just don't have one. So what if we could get a verbal one? Follow me here. So are you telling your clientele what your role is as a loan officer? So my role as your loan officer, I've got 4 jobs. Number 1 is to properly pre-approve you. Our industry has had a horrible pre-approval process for as long as I've been in the industry. Lenders will take an application on a napkin on a blank sheet of paper and turn it into their processor and hope that it articulates what you're looking to do. We take the appropriate amount of time up front to properly pre-approve you. So when the time comes that you find the home that you love, you know that we're going to be able to execute on it. We're going to give you a guarantee. Secondly, is we're going to provide you strategic financial advice. We got you in debt. We're going to get you out of debt. We're going to show you several ways to pay off your mortgage in a shorter period of time. We're also going to give you some strategies if you have credit card obligations to minimize and delete credit card obligations over time. Third, when you find that home that you love, I'm going to put my reputation on the line to get you that home. So here's the thing. I work with a lot of listing agents in the marketplace. A lot of agents know who I am. I'm going to use my reputation to ensure that you get that property. And then lastly, do you realize how many people are involved in a mortgage transaction? It's the #1 data exchange transaction in the history of the US. There's more data that goes back and forth on a mortgage transaction than any other type of transaction. In addition to that, there's about 30 to 40 people involved. I'm going to manage the dates and deadlines of the contract and the emotions of those individuals to get you the home that you love on time and on budget. So let me tell you how I'm paid. The best part is I'm not paid by you. I'm not paid by the seller. I'm not paid by the buyer's agent. I'm paid by Cross Country Mortgage only upon a successful mortgage closing. Up until then, my team and I are working for you for free. We are the best free service that you're going to receive. Time out. We got to tell that to them because they think because because they're hourly and salary, so are we. So we got to explain that to them, right? And we're the best free service. We've all been broken up with at the altar. This will minimize this, I promise you. And then lastly, so as you tell them how you get compensated and only upon a successful loan closing and by your mortgage company, right? You got to ask them this question too. Will you be looking at new builds, right? If they say yes, great. Every builder has a preferred lender. Unfortunately, I'm not it. However, I have a ton of experience with working with new builds. And sometimes what the builder says they're going to do with incentives isn't always the truth. So make sure, #1, if you're going to look at new builds, you take your agent. And #2, when you get that contract, and they may ask that you get pre-approved with their lender, please get me that contract so I can go through it thoroughly and put together a competitive offer. If I don't feel that my offer is better than what you're getting with the builder, I will simply bow out. And then lastly, let me ask you this question. Are you going to continue to shop for mortgage services, or am I going to be your lender? Now, if they say they're going to continue to shop, no problem. The reason that I find that people continue to shop is I haven't simply uncovered what's most important to you. Would you mind sharing with me what that is? And then reclose them, right? But here's the thing, take a time out. Here's the thing, we've all had that client that's all of a sudden gone and look at new builds and we didn't know and we lose them. We've also had that client where they continue to shop us. And so it's like, well, wait, did you ask them if they were going to look at new builds? No. Okay, shame on you. Did you ask them if they were going to continue to shop you? No. Okay, shame on you. So this is my verbal buyer's agency agreement. Now, when I finish this, I call the agent. Hey, I just want to let you know, I just finished up with Dave. I want to let you know, #1 is he's not going to continue to shop for mortgage services. He's happy with what I'm offering. Additionally, he is or isn't interested in new builds, right? And then the third thing is oh shit, sorry, she stepped in. So the third thing, they're not going to shop and they're not going to look at new builds. Don't show them new builds, right? And so now you're just weaving that in and you're doing this in front of them to ensure that this isn't going to happen. The rest is pretty.
Whoa, go back to that.
Yeah.
So guys, a couple things. First of all, this is leadership. This is sales. This is making sure you have a checklist to lean into things. This is anticipating objections before they come. And then I want to call out bullet #2 and 3. Hey, if you are in the mortgage game, closing a loan on time, closing it smooth, being able to pre-approve someone for how much they qualify for, table stakes. Now, you notice Gavin communicates it and articulates it in a way that exudes confidence and clarity, and there's value in that. Being a strategic financial advice or providing strategic financial advice, being a strategic partner, I know the majority of loan officers that say that, they don't do it. I want everyone who's watching this right now that if you think you deliver strategic financial advice, how do you deliver that to your consumer? I know I'm Mr. Mortgage Coach, but seriously, if I was a coach and I wasn't Mr. Mortgage Coach, and you were a loan officer and you were delivering a fee worksheet, and you told me that you provide strategic financial advice, and then you showed me, oh, this is how you deliver price? Bullshit. Like that's you cannot deliver strategic financial advice if you're not giving someone options, if you're not showing them the cost over different periods of time, and then when the net worth comes into play, if you're not able to like, hey, look at the cost of waiting. Hey, look at where you'll be in 5 years. Like if you can't do that, by the way, guys, don't put this here. And I do think we're moving into an era where not only do you need to communicate your advice clearly and powerfully, but you know what's more important than how you articulate and communicate?
Show it.
It's how you execute.
Yep.
And Gavin, do you agree that the originator who can articulate the way you are and can execute the way you are is going to just dominate the market going forward?
We're taking market share. And so when we talk about strategic financial advice, it's bringing Mortgage Coach back in, right? Show the cost of waiting, show if I need to do a cash out refi, debt consolidation, all of those things, using Mortgage Coach at that point in multiple ways that you might not even thought of. And now they're already used to it because I've used it in the beginning, that they see it again. And so when I send it to them, they understand it even that much greater, right?
So guys, I'll go into more detail. Gavin, we got to have him jump. I don't know where you're at on your prezzo. I have a couple questions before you jump, but finish your presentation and then let me ask a few questions before you.
So this is standard. Like, listen, I asked for 4 things from you. I give you 4 things. I ask for 1 thing in return. It's clearly articulated, but here's what I say, and this is money, because every agent wants to work with a lender that's going to get them more referrals, right? So if Dave was my client, I would say, hey, Dave, like, listen, I'm going to provide you 4 things: close on time, close accurately, communicate effectively, and go above and beyond for you during this transaction. But I ask for 1 thing in return. I've been working with Deborah Bird for the last 15 years. She's one of my top real estate agents. How I continue to work with Deborah is by the mutual clients that we share and getting referrals from them. On average, we get 3 to 4 referrals during the transaction from our clients, in which then I refer them back to Deborah. So if I can provide you these 4 things during the transaction, would it be okay to ask you for those referrals as we move along? Now I'm setting it up. And notice I said during. And here's what I tell Dave. Listen, it doesn't have to be somebody that's looking to buy and sell right now. I just want to build a relationship with them. So when the time comes, they have somebody that they know, like, and trust in their pocket, on their phone, right? In their pocket, that when the time comes, they can reach out to me. So that's the pitch. And so we get massive referrals for our agents every single time by just saying that. If I deliver these 4 things, can I ask for 1 thing in return? And I want it during the transaction. And on average, we get 3 to 4 per transaction. Nobody wants to be average. That's it. Scan that if you want to follow me on Insta, and I'll send you this buyer's presentation in Canva and you can cut it up. I went really fast for the sake of time. But
no, and we know you got to jump in a minute.
Like 10 more minutes, you want to ask some questions.
Yeah, I do. You go ahead and stop sharing. And Deborah put a link down below. If you're watching this in YouTube, there'll be a link to Gavin's Instagram. DM him buyer, and he will give you this presentation. So Todd, Deborah, let me go first. And then if we have time, you 2 can ask questions. And then the 3 of us can all debrief this afterwards. So 1, I would love, if you wouldn't mind, so accompanying this, if we had a purchase total cost analysis. So just tell your team a typical purchase TCA. With rates coming down, you know, I have to assume you're getting ready to deliver rate and term refi TCAs.
Yes.
Have you guys delivered any rate and term refi TCAs?
I checked with them today. So they haven't delivered any today, right, to date, but we are, you know, after our text.
You're gaming up. You're gaming up.
They're coming. It's coming. So we got to be prepared, right? So we got to be prepared.
Get prepared. And I will, just because they're coming, and I have other loan officers that have started delivering those. I'll put a link to one of those.
Yeah.
After Gavin leaves, I'll tell you how to get trained on that. Now, I've also seen a lot of photos on social where you have a room full of realtors. You're
Yeah.
you're either doing realtor masterminds or
Yeah.
you're dealing realtor presentations. Could you just
Sure.
walk us through your buyer presentation? What are you doing at these realtor events and how often are you doing them?
Yeah.
Anything you're willing to share there.
I'll share everything. Listen, I come from a place of abundance. I don't have any secrets. I'm going to tell you everything that I'm doing. Either you're going to do it your way or you're not going to do it at all. And either way is fine for me. I invite lenders to these events, so they can get better at their craft. So I do 8 a month. I do 4 at a
Wow.
broker's office, and I do 4 at either a steakhouse or a local, restaurant. Little higher end. We sponsor it out so you can do it on any budget. Title companies, like a pitch to the title company is, hey, if you want to get my refis when the refis are there, you're gonna support me now when they're not. Mortgage insurance companies, appraiser management companies, like get them to sponsor it so then you're not paying for it, right? And so we do anything around winning with the buyer's presentation. When we're teaching them scripting, we're teaching them what we're out, canvassing for, to really get them to be a more to be better at what they're doing, right? Raising the standard of what they're doing. So similar to what this was, but geared then for the real estate agent. A lot of companies have them, but they don't have, like, what's their negotiation tactic? Like, NAR put out a thing that said the 4 things that were important to a home buyer, right? From their buyer's agent. The number one thing, and when I do this in the room, no buyer's agent gets it. But the number one thing that a buyer wants is to secure the home that they love. That's why you heard me use that terminology. The number one thing that a buyer wants in today's market is to secure the home that they love. The number 2 thing is a payment. The number 3 thing is price. We think it's in reverse: price, payment, find the house, right? But it's in that order. So all of our terminology is geared around that. The number one thing that a seller wants is certainty. So when we call the listing agent, we use the term certainty. We're certain that this transaction is going to close, right? And then it becomes terms, and then it becomes profit. But again, we think it's in a reverse order. The number one thing that a listing agent wants is certainty as well. So we pull on those strings. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Todd, any questions, comments? And then Deborah, we'll go to you.
You're all impressed for 2 reasons, right? Well, many reasons, but 2, right? He said that you need to do a better performance. And so he just did an amazing performance. And so you're impressed with, number 1, his ability to articulate it, right? I mean, you can hear that he's done this over and over and over and over. He talked about it, right? If you want to make $1.1 million like a beginning NBA player, you got to train like a beginning NBA player has trained all their life in order to get to that point. And then number 2 is he's going to share his presentation with you. You all need to have a presentation like this. The best listing agents have a great seller's presentation. Now the best buyer's agents have a great buyer presentation. You all do a good job of doing this consistently, but you could be better. And this is how you do a better performance, is use what Gavin has given you. Because bottom line is I mean, that was freaking awesome. Thanks, Gavin.
I went really quick. I know I talk fast, but it's to slow down to speed up too, right? Like if I do this, my team does this consistently. I haven't taken a loan application in 10 years. And I just won Colorado Lenders CLMA Lender of the Year, right? It's because I'm running a business and I'm involved and I have the expectation of how I want this stuff ran. This is the play. And Kobe Bryant said it best. I practice in the gym. I practice when the gym is empty so I can perform when the arena is full. This is just the practice, right? So we just got to spend more time practicing.
Did you know it's his birthday today?
Oh, that's
and
great.
tomorrow's Kobe Day, just FYI.
There we go.
So Gavin, I have a question. Are these 8 events that you're doing, is it different agents that are showing up? And then number 2, are you doing any outreach, like one-on-ones where you're meeting with them, or is it a complete kind of top wide funnel?
Yeah. Great question. So I'm going really, 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 really wide. I want people to know who I am, right? And here's how I sell this is what I sell to the agents is, listen, my role on the team is to take care of you as the realtor. My role for the team is to take care of your clients at the highest level, higher level than what you and I can take care of them at. so you and I can go do dope shit together. Dope shit to me is taking down more market share and being really creative in our visions and aligning them just to continue to grow. And so when I get the agents that understand that, they love it. Now, I'm not for everybody, and I don't want to work with everybody, but I want to show them like there's so many opportunities that we have in real estate. The content's the same for all 8. The content is the same. Some of them want a more private event. Some of them want a more public event, but the content is here's what I'll tell you about the content. It's very typical, turn it up on its head, right? A buyer's presentation is very typical. Every company has it. None of them use it, but let's take it away from being just very generic and make it customized to them. Let's have a negotiation platform that we put in there. Let's have some stories that we tell. Let's create an origin story, right? So there's so many things that we do along the way to come up with this with them. And we sell out all of them. They all sell out. And when I say sell out, so last month alone, we spoke to 438 real estate agents. Every event was sold out.
That's amazing.
I don't know another lender
Congrats.
that's doing that. And listen, I'm 50. The average lender, I just was thinking about this morning, it's 51 is our average, right? So I've been 30 years in this industry. I'm just having fun. That's just it. Like for me, this is fun.
How are you doing? How is production for your team, and how big is your region now, or your division?
Region will do about 1 point, and this is not like, so this is the thing is yeah, I don't just do loans. Like I have 27 branches. We'll do 1.6 billion. I'll do a little over 100 million this year, but this year I really focused on, I wanted to have a couple more solid years. So I'm gonna get back to the 200 mark, and this is just an opportunity to take market share right now. And so I'm doing that. The other thing too is developing think tank groups with a lender and agent, and me not running them, but me giving the narrative and the what they should be talking about. There's a huge opportunity for that. Agents need it. Lenders want it.
So guys, the guy you just heard from is going to do over 100 million as his team, has built a region that's doing over 1.3 billion in this market.
1.6.
He's 1.2. He's got a big family. He's an incredible husband, family man. He gives it all there. He's a coach. Are you
Yes.
coaching nowadays?
Yeah, so we started a coaching program called Impact. We'll launch in Austin, Texas, September 19th and 20th. Come join us. Look at impactyourlife.com. If you like what we talked about, we're not just geared for real estate agents and lenders. We're a sales organization. And here, I'll tell you this. I've got 6 kids, right? My 5-year-old, many of you know this, but my 5-year-old was diagnosed with leukemia in November. So life happens for you, not to you, right? And so that's why in one picture I have hair, and now she said I could finally grow it back. And so I'm growing it back, but we have good days and we have great days. And that's all I'll tell you is if you live your life that way and don't focus on the things that you can't control, life becomes really, really good.
Bro, you are just a gift to this community. Thank you for pouring in prayers to your family, and thank you, my brother. We're going to let you jump to your next meeting.
It was worth your time. We were good. You got something out of it. We impacted these guys today.
Give him a reaction if you got value from this. If you're watching this on social media, give us a reaction. If you got value, give us a reaction. We're going to keep going. But we're going to let Gavin get back into the game. Go get it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right.
Bye. Go Rangers, maybe. All right.
Woo. Gosh.
That was pretty textbook, right? I mean, I think one of the themes that we've seen since the Modern Mortgage Summit is that the best loan officers have a scripted strategy, right? Gavin said, if it's not in writing, it's not going to happen. And he said, if it's not a step-by-step process, it doesn't happen consistently. And so I just think you all need to think about that, right? If you remember Donahue talked at the Modern Mortgage Summit about the fact that she's got a process that she walks her clients through. If you remember, Shayla Gifford at the Modern Mortgage Summit said that her team is meeting face-to-face now. Denise is doing hers on Zoom. Shayla's team's meeting with them in person, face-to-face, one-on-one, and walking through them through a scripted process. But, you know, the bottom line is you got to become a better performer, and you got to figure out what is your path to get from your current skill level, right, of communication to the skill level of someone who's going to earn $1 million a year. And, you know, the bottom line is the mortgage industry, in my opinion, is not that hard. It's being laser focused on what you have to do today. What are those activities that'll lead to the results you want later in the year? And then making sure that you execute on them. And part of that is you have to have a plan to grow yourself as an originator. And really right now, I think communication is the key. So if you didn't watch Scriptapalooza, you know, go over to the Trust Engine or the Win by Noon YouTube channels and watch the replay of that there. You'll get some of the Phil Jones genius. There's also on the Win by Noon channel a call that Deborah and I did with Phil earlier this year about the NAR settlement, which would be great for you to watch and then share with your real estate agents and talk to them. So that's my rant on be better. You have the opportunity, but not unless you schedule the time to learn and grow.
So Deborah, I'll have you go in a minute. I want to, my biggest takeaway was just, he said it over and over, you got to train, you got to have a process. The best process wins, the best scripts win. You know, Todd and I shared about the modern mortgage IQ at Scriptapalooza. Guys, you could go to that, you know, like now all of the modern mortgage summit content, which is all like no longer than 18 minutes. It's all there, and it's there for producing managers, you know, so that, you know, you have some of the most successful mortgage professionals in history that are giving lessons that matter in this market. So I just shared a link to that. If you know, we did not, I think it's 100 people get $500 off. So get signed up for that. We did have a lot of folks sign up for the modern mortgage IQ at Scriptapalooza, but it's designed for two things. One, to train on scripts and strategies that matter the most with top performing mortgage advisors who are all in it. All the people that have been part of Modern Mortgage Summit, their content is in there, they're active in there. And then we have all this real estate content, and it's all designed to be content that you can use to train with realtors. Did you notice that Gavin's doing both? He's like training mortgage professionals and helping them win. And then he's also out there 8 times a month training real estate professionals. So check it out. modernmortgageiq.com. Either sign up, or you can also email sales at Modern Mortgage IQ if you just want to get on the mailing list. So go check that out. Deborah, takeaways, thoughts?
So immediately I started to think about how there's this, you know, pattern with these top producers. And it reminded me of Shant Benosian's talk at the Mastermind Summit. And then I recently heard Tom Brady say a very similar thing, as well as Kobe Bryant. And it is the fact that they're not anything special. Like they don't have any special talents or gifts necessarily. They just were consistent. And so if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, but Gavin has this huge team and Denise has this huge team and, you know, Dan Keller, that's what I love about the Win by Noon planner. Is it helps you have a plan to hit every aspect of the business to make sure that you're doing your sales activities and winning before noon. So that way you don't fall into that trap of like, but I can't do that because I don't have all the support and help that I need. You don't need that in the beginning. But what you do need is you have to have a plan, and then you have to be consistent with executing the plan while looking at your numbers to see where little micro improvements could help increase the conversion. Like how many of your buyer consultations received a TCA, how many didn't? And what was the conversion rate on those? What's your offer acceptance rate? How many proactive agent conversations are you committed to having for the day or the week? And are you honoring those and dominating and winning your day? So if you haven't already checked out the planner, this isn't just a plug because Todd is on this call, but I could sense that there could be people who listen to this and just think, oh, I can't do that because I'm not him. How could I possibly do it on a smaller scale? But break it down and have the plan so you can execute and win.
You're too kind, Deborah. And I would say this, it's funny because as you were talking before you went on your Win by Noon pitch, I wrote down my question for you all is where in your schedule, like literally schedule in your schedule, is your time to train, right? Dave talked about the fact we got to build in training. And then also, where's your time as a business development manager for your team, right? So what we saw Gavin's doing is he's doing business development. That's a different role. And it's no different than when you're new and you don't have an assistant. You have to schedule time where you work on loans and you are your own assistant. And then eventually that can become something else. But when I first got into the loan business, I studied every day for an hour a day. I'd gone to some seminar and that's what they were talking about. And so I learned about the market. I learned how to do a TCA. Y'all know I was a mortgage coach nerd from day one. I got in the business accidentally, but it was the best gift I ever got. And ultimately, I think that was really the differentiator for me, is that I built a schedule where I forced myself to do these things, non-negotiable. You have to have a lot of white space too. You got to be able to react, right? You have to be able to do those other things. But I do think that's a great opportunity. And so, yeah, I'm kind of excited about Modern Mortgage IQ, just because we've had so many people who've said, gosh, I really loved in 2020, when you had those scripts on how to say no, or people said, hey, I loved in, 2021 in the Modern Real Estate Summit when you had Ryan Serhant talking about what he's doing. And so all of those videos are in there. It's in one place, plus new content that we've created. So it's going to be a fun journey. It's going to be a fun community where we're going to kind of take what we're doing here in the Trust Engine community up to that next level with a group of folks who can jump in and join us. And I feel bad. I don't want to be on a pitch fest, but it also made me think about that. Our last exactly what to say certification was in Santa Monica when I was there this summer. And I got a text from Sean, one of the guys who was there, and his text said, thank you again for allowing me to join you for your certification. I used the script. Would you be open-minded? So that's one of the scripts that we talked about and we worked through as a team there, not just a bunch of loan officers, but we had 5 real estate agents. It's a small group. It's typically a group of 16 to 18 people. And he said, because he used that with this agent that he didn't know, she was open-minded to a meeting, and when he walked out of the meeting, he had a transaction of hers that was in trouble, and he closed a $27,000 commission. So within 30 days of going through the training, he used a script in the first week and made $27,000 as a result. So it was a really an amazing success story. Even if he would have said he made $2,700, it would have more than covered it. So we normally don't have a few weeks out any spots, but we've got a team of 3 that's got to push into 2025. So if it's something that's of interest to you, just DM either Deborah or I. We actually have one of Gavin's coaches that's going to be joining us. She's a badass, so that'll be a lot of fun. And so it's always fun to see who's in that room. But yeah, if you're interested in joining us, let us know, DM us. We'll get you a special last minute discount code, but we'd love to have you.
And guys, that's the difference. Like a multiple day workshop, got to train with people, and exactly what to say matters more than ever. So I know you two got to jump. Guys, I'm going to stay here. I am only going to really answer questions. So if you have questions, put them in chat. Todd, you're the man. Appreciate you, my brother.
What? It's I'm more passionate right now about this than ever. I feel like you all have an opportunity. I love it. Marina's on this call. Marina's been in the business for 4 years, and she's having her best year ever. I don't know too many people who are having their best year ever, and even who've been in the business for only 4 years. And so there's so many of you that have success stories, but Marina puts in the work, right? I want you all to think about that. If you can be laser focused and put in the work, I just know you're going to freaking crush it. But, I've got so many success stories of people that I really care about in this community. And I want you all to be part of that. So, everyone's in different spots, right? This is great free content. We're going to come in here and pour into you week in and week out. And then we've got these other things we're going to invite you into, and we're creating those other things because, as Dave said, we're trying to create special experiences where you can go to that next level. And, it's really tough. It's tough in this market because you got to invest not just time, but money in yourself. But I don't know. I'm more fired up right now. I came off of 2 weeks of hibernation on vacation in Europe. And, the momentum I'm seeing in the market, the conversations I'm having with loan officers and real estate agents is giving me huge optimism. And, the fact, Dave, that I get to do it with you and with the rest of this community is just a huge gift. So thanks, my friend.
Yeah. Well, bro, hey, I can feel the passion. Todd Bookspan has never been more on fire. He's winning by noon like never before. If you want to get a Win by Noon shirt, go to the Win by Noon store, check it out. If you want to plan for winning by noon, get in the community, be a planner. So go check it out, guys. So Todd, I'm gonna let you jump.
Awesome. All right, guys. See y'all next week.
And here's, I do have one closing thought, and then it's like, if there's no questions, we're gonna wrap it early. But I want to make sure, if you want to train as a mortgage coach, as a trust engine person, like, go to trustengine.com/10x. If you have not already signed up, you can get an individual membership here. If your company doesn't have an enterprise partnership with us, we have over 170 lenders that do have enterprise partnerships. Tell your management team, if they want to get a demo of our data services or anything, just click up here, connect. But as you go down here, guys, what do you need to win with realtors? I've got the #1 buyer agent in America. Watch that. Share that with your agent. I've got 2 of the best mortgage coaches. Man, I got to do another interview with Gavin and get his presentation. But right here, you want to win with rate shoppers. 3 of the best interviews to do that. And then as you scroll down, guys, there are a playlist of clips. So these are like sales training clips, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Got to leave that. Okay, here's some 5-minute clips. So there's just a playlist of clips that we made to train. You want to come into group coaching? Every Wednesday and Thursday, we teach and train on MortgageCoach. Every Monday, we do beginners training. Tuesdays, I interview amazing people like I did this week with Kelly Zitlow. Incredible interview. Today, you're on the Friday interview. And then you keep scrolling down, like everything you need to be a mortgage coach, to be someone of value, to show options, strategies, help realtors. So I did want to call that out. Now let me see if I've got any questions. Mortgage Coach is great. Thanks for the excellent content. Thank you, Nancy. Marina, congrats. I did not know you were having your best year yet. Thanks for being such an active leader in this community. Rick, Lynn, what's up? Sarah, how are you? Any questions you guys have? I had to step away for a minute. How do you navigate preferred lenders? Well, I assume you're asking, how do you navigate preferred lenders and you're talking to a realtor? Is that, I could go a lot of different ways with that. I'm trying to think, who did I interview? It was yesterday, and he covered a script on how to do that. But is it Kathy or Caddy? If you could put a little more explanation, I'm trying to, okay, it was part of an earlier script from my role as a lender. I'm just trying to are you trying to like get in with a realtor? Are you trying to win with a borrower? Trying to get a little more color on that before I give a quick answer. For the borrower. So the preferred from a new build. Okay, got it. So first of all, there's no magic bullet in what Gavin did earlier in terms of getting ahead of it. I'm going to say 2 things. I'm going to answer this quickly. If no more questions come, I'm going to wrap it. There are 20% of the people, almost no matter what you say and how you say it, you're going to get them. There are 20 to 30% of the people, no matter what you say and how you say it, you are not going to get them. And if they are truly getting something tangible and valuable for the builder, you're going to lose some of those. But then there is what you do in the middle. And I always believe that strategy and advice matters more than rate and fee. And so by providing a mortgage coach, total cost analysis, breaking it down, hope is you can show them a mortgage strategy, something that they can do uniquely with their down payment, something that they could do uniquely with the way you finance that strategy, and then show the builder's option versus your option. And here's what I find. If there's a couple $1,000s different in total cost over 1 to 2 years, so the best strategy is like break it down so that they can see the cost and difference over 1 year, 2 years, then if it's only a couple $1,000s, you can very likely win that deal without any price concession. If it's over $5,000 in total value, and remember, we're not talking $5,000 at transaction. Like my message is to you is to go beyond the transaction with the family, show them options, show them your strategies, show them the cost of how they perform over time. You have a very good chance of maintaining that relationship. By the way, if it's over $10,000 in value over time, you know what? You're going to have a hard time saving that business. And you are going to lose some business to some builders, preferred lenders. Next, let's move on. But be strategic and show total cost over time. That's my answer. Any other questions? I hope that was valuable. And So anyways, guys, I hope you got value from this. If you did, give it a like, share it with your mortgage friends. Check out all the things that we talked about today. If you have not either signed up for the Modern Mortgage IQ, at least get on the mailing list. So sales at modernmortgageiq.com, and we gave you a link. And hopefully you guys all get better. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. This is a wrap.